Welcome to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. This podcast was created for the boomer woman leaving corporate, and now you're looking to reinvent yourself, become an author, an entrepreneur, a podcaster. Well, each episode will leave you with clarity. You will come away with the yes, I can and yes, I will reinvent myself mindset. So come on, let's do this. I'm your host, Margot Levette. This episode comes to you from Media Package. If your time is precious enough to be a podcast guest, don't you think your content deserves a chance to make maximum impact? Expand your reach? Media Package. Details are in the show notes. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Well, I hope that you're taking it really safe these days because I'll need you to hang around and really listen to what my guest has to say. She is a literary, let me get my notes here, a literary award winner. She is the president, CEO of Executive Women Success Institute, working up under the mission of helping women accelerate the path to success. We're going to open up this show today with the understanding, stepping a little bit away from how I usually present to you, but I am of the knowing that a lot of women are not leaving corporate. They don't want to leave corporate. And it is my solemn duty, since I'm one here to give much inspiration, I have to make sure that I don't leave you all out, since we are in these AKA unprecedented times. How do you hang in there? What does success look like? And I wanted to bring Dr. Madeline A. Lewis to you because she knows about success. She knows about that corporate ladder. So welcome, Dr. Madeline. And she said, I'm not being disrespectful. She said I can call her Dr. Madeline. So I have to put that out there because people work hard to get those doctorates, and I give you all the kudos in the world. So welcome, and thank you for sharing, taking out time with us, Dr. Madeline.
You know what? Thank you so much for inviting me. This is just, this is awesome. You are awesome. And I just love your show, love you. And being here is, look, it just made my day. It made my day.
Well, it made my day to be able to bring on someone who knows this subject matter, and I can entrust the audience to what you are about to impart to them, because everybody's talking about success these days.
Oh, yeah.
But when you chart it out, how deep do they go? Are they teaching it? Are they talking about it? And for the most part, a lot of people are not. So Dr. Madeline, I'd like to start out with just what is success? I know it's a broad term.
Yes, it is. And I will start off by saying that everybody defines it differently. I mean, success, it means different things to different people, Margot. And so for me, and so I'm going to tell you what success means to me. For me, it's whatever you believe it takes for you to be successful. Wow. That's how I feel about it. For example, I'm a coach, okay? I'm a teacher. I'm a professor. I've taught, in colleges. I'm a business consultant. I train. But in order to be able to do all of that, I have to be able to articulate. I have to have a compelling message, to be able to share to the people that I'm serving or I'm speaking to. And I have to make sure that I can invoke change in the lives of the people that I am coming in contact with. I mean, to me, that's my mission. And I have to find my niche in the market, because that encompasses all of that to include being, for me to be successful. So I don't, don't get me wrong. I don't feel as though I know it all. So for me, being successful means that I have to keep learning. I have to keep growing. And I have to educate myself by receiving coaching myself, receiving training myself, and from individuals that I consider to be the best in the business. People like you. Now that you're on my radar, trust me, I am definitely following you because I know that you are the best at what you do in this industry. And so for me to be successful, I would say it's one of those things that begins in your head. You have to, whatever you believe about yourself, if you feel that you're not good enough, then guess what? You're not going to be good enough in anything that you do. You've already started a war against your own self. You finished the game before you even gotten started in the game.
Dr. Madeline, I know you're on a roll, but I have to stop you right there.
Okay.
You are honey, all of this essence, this is what I knew about you. All the essence of success is coming out of you, but you hit the nail on the head. It sounds as though success comes from the inside out. And if you do not do that inside work to secure that,
absolutely,
it's not going to work for you no matter where you are.
Absolutely.
Okay. I also picked up on the fact that you are a very accomplished woman, but you invest in yourself. That's all a part of success.
Yes, it is. And you find a lot of people, they're in business, they're in their careers, but when it comes to really growing and staying an expert in their field, in their industry, they will not invest in themselves. That all of a sudden, I'll go out and buy a Louis Vuitton bag, but I'm not going to pay to get training to expand my mind in my industry. So when I open my mouth, I know that I know that I know.
Ooh, I have to stop you again. That is a pet peeve of mine. Don't try to sell me anything if you have not been investing in yourself. And it's so true. Dr. Madeline, when we look at what's going on now, it's those of us who continue to get the exposure and to skill up that are going to come out on the other side of this. We are the ones, and I say we because I'm just like you, stay in a mastermind, hire the best that I can hire. But if you don't do that, then you're not going to come out of this other side of the pandemic.
You will not
at all. You're not going to survive.
No, you won't. And that's why you will hear maybe people that were doing a little dab-a-do when in business before the pandemic start. Well, that little dab-a-do is just not going to work because during this pandemic, you had to do a lot of shifting. There's a lot of shifting that needed to be done so that you could stay in your industry, so that you can still be able to serve your clients and be available to your clients. And if you didn't make that shift or you weren't doing what you needed to do in the beginning, then when all of this is over with, you're going to be just a little dot somewhere that nobody will ever remember. And that it's really unfortunate. And to be honest with you, I always have a coach. I have a coach for everything that I do, for in each area of my life. I have a coach. Right now, I have someone that I work with that just takes me step by step. Every 2 weeks, we speak. Okay, what's going on now? What are you doing? Here's what I think you should be doing. Here's my suggestions. And I'm not saying I need someone to tell me what to do all the time, but I know I need someone who has done it. And those are the people that I like to follow. The ones that have done it. Don't come and tell me something that you've never done. Yes. And that's what we find a lot of time. You have a lot of coaches. We have a lot of people that's even in your industry, in the podcast industry. They can give you all this advice, but they've never done it themselves. So why am I listening to you? How can I be successful listening to a coach that's not successful? That just doesn't make sense to me.
They don't even have enough faith in what they are putting out there to the world. They're hoping and praying that it works, but it's not tried. It's not tested. It does not have their story mixed in there.
Absolutely.
So that brings me to another thing. we look, and you have many credentials. When we are looking for success, this thing of credentialism, how deep does that run when we look at a person? Oh, they're successful. Oh, no, they're not that successful. How deep does that thing run?
You know what, Margot, I will say, I'm not going to say that you need to have a doctorate degree to be a coach or to be in business, but I will say you need to have the certified backing behind you to show that you've trained and you've studied. And okay, I'll give you an example. I did a lot of research. I have a program called the 8 Habits of Highly Successful Women that I put people through in my coaching. You know how I created that program? I did research. I went out, I spoke to 20 women in and around the Washington, D.C. area that was in executive level positions. I mean, they are actually sitting in the chair. They are running. They are the head honchos in charge. I spoke to them and I wanted to find out, what are some of the obstacles you faced? How did you get where you are? Are you staying there? You know, what is it? What advice can you give to those that might come up behind you? I did that research because if I'm going to teach someone something, yes, I'm using some of my experience, but I also need to know what other people have faced so I can help them to, sidestep some of those obstacles if possible. Yes. And that's what I do. I'm not going to tell you something that I haven't done, something that I have no research on, something that I can't put before you and say, here's how it was done. This is who did it, or I did it myself.
Yes. I'm cheering you on. Yes.
And look, don't get me started, because I can definitely just go on and on about this.
That's important talk, though. That's important. Once again, you invested in your passion. You invested in your message. This even added to your story. There's no way that you could have had these conversations. And I know they had to be so
oh my God,
and you
Margot.
Just eye-opening. I met you, some of them almost made you cry.
Oh my goodness.
When they really felt like they could give you the skinny, as they say. Absolutely. What's really going on?
Yes. And to sit down with these women, powerful women like that have gotten into positions that a lot of times were only held by men, and they were able to break that, or put a crack in that glass ceiling. It was just phenomenal to hear their stories and to understand that as women, it's unfortunate, but we always have to be a step above. And I'm not even putting in the color. I'm not even saying as Black women. I'm saying as women. So, when you add the fact that I'm a Black female, I definitely, when I step on anybody's stage or in front of anybody's audience, I have to have it together. And so when I spoke to these women, and I'm telling you, one-on-one, face-to-face, and they told me, I had one, I remember one story, one of the females, and she told me, she said, the position she was in when she first put in her packet for it, she said they did not want to give her that particular position because it was on the technical side. They wanted to put her on the admin side. And she told them, no, I want that one. She said, I tell you what, let me try that position, be in that position for 30 days. Let me do it for 30 days. And if you feel like my skills and my talents are not what you need, if I can't do it, I will step down myself. She said, but sometimes we have to let them know I'm not going to take less than, because I know that I can do that technical side. I'm not just an admin person.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with the admin side. Don't get me, I'm not, saying that, but she knew that she could run the operational side too, that technical side, because she had that knowledge. So why do I have to go over there because you want to put your male friend on the operational technical side? And that's what happens a lot of times with females, the male counterpart. And I heard someone say, I was at a conference, and actually it was a man that said it. And he says, a lot of times when a male go for a job, they may only know about, 40% or have 40% of what they need to apply for that position, but they'll go for it anyway. But a female always feels that she has to have at least 80 to 100% before she will even apply for it.
That's true. I believe that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's why is that? If you have the skill, and let me tell you something, Margot, this is why I have pushed myself and gone as far as I have, because I remember way back when in my beginnings of my career in the federal government, I had a manager tell me one time when I went to her, I wanted to apply for this position that they had open, because I had just started with the federal government, and guess what? I was in the steno pool. I was in like a GS3 or something like that. And I saw this position on the board that would have taken me out of that steno pool and put me in a different track. And so I went to her and I told her, what my background was. I said, what do you think? Do you think I should apply for this? She said, let me tell you something that I want you to hold on to from now on during your career. She said, you can always learn the position. She said, but when you put in that package, you make it sound like you can walk on water. She said, now I'm not telling you, it's not lying about anything. She said, but when you write it up, don't write it up like you're scared, or you don't hold back on what you've done or what you can do. She said, like I said, her words to me, and I never forgot that when she said, make it sound like you can walk on water. She said, because once you get in that position, you can learn whatever the other things are that you need to know. And you always put people behind you that have the skills too, that can help you move.
Wow, you know what? I can definitely relate to that. Even in podcasting, all things, you just have to do them and go into them boldly. Your confidence may be a little bit shaky, but keep moving, because the more you do it, get in there and just do it. And commit, as you say, to having the best people around you, because that does something for your confidence. It brings out your voice.
Absolutely.
And I'll bet when you got into that other position, you did everything she told you to do, and you found your voice, and you were able to implement your voice in that position and be successful.
Yes. And I got the position. It was, they flew me to Houston for an interview. And when I walked into that room tonight, and it's amazing how you remember the things that just change your life, basically forever. When I walked into the room, the whole panel sitting there was nothing but males. That's that's intimidating right there, to walk in and you just don't know, what they are thinking. And I thought to myself, I just kept hearing what she said, make it sound like you can walk on water. But the thing too is to know, to have researched the position. So I spoke to people that had been in that position, that was in that position. See, I'm a person that I like to know the facts before I walk into, so I research, I read a lot. And so I talked to people that was in that position, holding it right at the moment, to find out, hey, tell me, when you went on your interview, what are some of the things that I can expect? What maybe some questions that they might ask me? That's what I wanted to know. So when I walked into that room, I'm not going to say I wasn't nervous, but I didn't let, what I saw intimidate me. And when I answered those questions and I walked out of that room, I felt good about myself because I knew that I had done what I needed to do on my end to be able to get the position. And I got it.
Now,
I
see,
got it.
you were prepared. You were
Yes.
focused. You were concentrated on what you were doing. You had an intention and an objective.
Absolutely.
And those men in the room, I would imagine most of them were not of your persuasion,
No.
of your nationality.
No,
So
they were
that
not.
could be sometimes as women of color, we let that back us down also.
Yes.
But you just kept hearing, you heard your truth and you stuck with it and you were prepared. I bet, Dr. Madeline, you can even remember what you had on that day. Because I'm that kind of person. I remember what shoes I had on. I remember what suit I had. I remember stuff like that.
It's funny you should say that because I did have on a suit, and because I was flying in, I wore, some flat, comfortable shoes on the plane and to get to where I was going. But soon outside that door, before I walked in, I put those heels on.
I can see you now and just doing your strut.
Oh,
I've got
my
this.
goodness.
I'm here. I don't know what y'all gonna do with me, but you know what? I'm here.
And another thing, I walked in with my note, like a notepad, had like a little brief thing so that I could sit down, open it up, and with an ink pen in my hand to take notes and write down. Because when they say, this is what a lot of people, when I used to do mock interviews with people, I always told them, whenever they ask you at the end if you have any questions, never say no. Mm-hmm. You need to have at least one or two questions for them. Let them answer something for you. Mm-hmm. And so, but you can only do that if you've done research, done your research to know what you're walking into. You can't do that blindly. Yeah.
Wow. Never walk in cold. Never, ever. No matter. Sometimes we think that we can do that because we're talented, we're gifted. Oh, I've been working here for so long. My packet is just stellar and I have everything, but walking in cold. And that is, I'm glad you brought that up, Dr. Madeline. That's the big game changer right there. Then one question comes that can throw you off if you're not researched, if you're not ready. Exactly. There's always going to be something. And I would imagine in this climate, there's a lot of some things that are being thrown to people.
Yeah. I mean, because you never know what they're going to ask you. So you have to be prepared. You really have to be prepared. And that's why I said when I used to do the mock interviews with individuals, with the ladies that would come to me to help them with their packets, it was always, I could tell them at that point, I know you're not prepared. It's a mock interview, but you still need to walk into this mock interview as if you're walking into the real thing.
All right.
And that means be prepared when you come before me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's as simple as that. If you're not prepared, because somebody's going to challenge you. I know as a speaker, whenever you get up to speak, whenever you get up to present, and I used to have to go out and present and represent, and I worked for an organization that they used to send me out all the time to represent them. And it never failed. Somebody in that audience is always going to try and challenge you or ask you a question that they think you don't know. It never fails.
I don't think they even care to the answer. They just want to see how you react.
How you will react.
Make you squirm a bit.
Absolutely.
But if you're researched and you're prepared, it's different.
That's why I say you always have to know that you know that you know.
And you know what, Dr. Madeline? That's with everything. That's with from podcasting to teaching to being an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. Be ready. I'm looking at the time. I want you to be able to tell people about the 8 Habits of Highly Successful Women. You said that is a program that you have at the
Yes, it is.
Tell us about that. The Executive Women's Institute, Success Institute. It sounds like something a lot of people need to look into.
Well, my 8 Habits of Highly Successful Women is something that I created, and it's unique because it delves into helping you to change your behavior, change your attitude, change your image. And what it does, it covers a gambit of things like your gifts and your talents, things like your purpose. How would you design your own career? How do you strategize around obstacles? It also networking. We know that we have to network, but a lot of us don't do it. A lot of us don't understand how. But there is a just like there's a good old boy network, there should be a good old girl network. And like I said, professional image, that's key. I remember at one time the younger generation was starting to come to work wearing the flip-flops. Now, remember when I was when I started working, we used to get on the subway and everything with your tennis shoes and socks on. But when you got to work, you changed into your shoes, your professional shoes that you were going to wear at work. Yeah. But I started knowing, I remember one time I was going to a meeting, and this was a very important meeting. And one of the young ladies in the office, I was trying to mentor her. So I told her, I said, I'd like you to come along with me to the meeting and just, sit and listen. And then when we get back, we can discuss it. When we got ready to leave for that meeting and I looked around and she had on flip-flops, I was like, okay, are you bringing another pair of shoes with you so that you can change when we get there? She said, no. And I told her, I said, well, I'm sorry, but I can't take you to this meeting like that. So that was an opportunity missed for her because of the fact that she did not realize you have to be professional at all time. And I learned that lesson the hard way when, how you have casual Friday, they tell you you can wear your jeans on Friday.
They tell you.
Yeah. So this particular Friday, I decided, okay, I'm going to wear my jeans to work. Wouldn't you know, I was called in because they needed me to brief a new executive on EEO because I was in the EEO arena at the time, and they wanted me to go in and brief. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't go in there. That taught me a valuable lesson. Yes, casual Fridays, I'll wear a nice, pair of casual pants and maybe a dress down shirt, but I always had a jacket in my office from then on to put on to beef that right back up and look professional. I never wore jeans to work again after that. That was definitely a lesson.
People need to hear that. These things never go out of style. I don't care what. Be ready so that you don't have to get ready.
Get ready. Absolutely.
That's exactly what you're teaching people.
Yes.
I'm looking at the time. I just want everyone to know that you are a sister podcaster. How can they listen to your podcast also?
Well, it's
not a podcaster, podcast TV, right?
Yeah, both. It's Successful Women. It's the radio and TV show. It airs live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on the Women for Women Network and Talk 4 TV. So all you have to do is click either watch TV or listen live, and you'll be able to hear us live on Thursdays. And it also airs on YouTube. The radio show is on all the the media outlets, Spotify, iHeart, so it's on all those channels too. Yes.
And tell us how we can get in contact with you, because I'm sure there are some people that have questions and they really need to speak with you.
Absolutely. They can email me at info@exwsi.com, or they can go to my website, www.exwsi.com. And if they do, make sure they download my free 3-part video series on 3 things every woman should do to position herself for executive leadership. And of course, I'm on all the social media sites, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So they can connect with me on any of those.
All right. A woman who is out there because she knows exactly what's going on a mission to help others. Corporate America doesn't have to eat you up. There are people, Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis can help you survive. I'm looking at the clock. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here with
you.
us today.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I had fun. I enjoyed it so much.
I'm glad. And I can see we are like kindred spirits. You get in your zone and you just rolling. But that's what lets you know that you're with a real champ. You are with a really authentic person, somebody who knows their stuff. And these conversations are priceless. They are golden. So
Oh, yes,
thank you.
absolutely.
So, well, I have to end another episode right here at Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to listen and listen again. And I'm asking you now, share this out with your community because this is valuable information. We are in, as they say, unprecedented times. You do not know who needs what nugget of information at what time, but I do know that what goes on here at Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation, people need this information. So I'm asking you, share it out. And I'll be back next week, brand new episode right here, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Stay safe, wash your hands, and wear your mask, all right?
Yeah.
See you later. Bye-bye now.
I want to thank you for listening to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Couple of things that I want you to do right now. Go to my website, pick up a copy of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention, how I went from game show hopping to international show host, author, and speaker in 1 year. Number 2, please freely listen to each and every episode. Share them out with your family, friends, the men in your lives. And then number 3, get in contact with me, one of the experts that have been on the show, because I want to make sure that you reinvent yourself. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode here on Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation.